Thank you so much. I'm very glad to be here and to see that you're still resisting. You are in a very hot day inside, and you are resisting. But I am sure that this is also an opportunity for all of you here to get to know the countries that maybe you never heard before. And I also come from a country that is kind of peculiar because it's very little known. And I'm very happy to have this opportunity that Ms. Donfried offered to represent my country, and something that I do very voluntarily and with a lot of pleasure, and that is cultural diplomacy. If they ask in our embassy, do you have a cultural attaché, or who does the culture? I say, no, we don't. It's me, because I really like cultural diplomacy, because I think that is a very effective tool in bringing countries close to each other, or reaching the goal of every ambassador, that is to bring the country close to the host country. I also come from a country, I have written a long speech, but yeah, I don't want to bore you with reading a speech. I also come from a country that is actually in the, well, not in the heart of Europe, but at the point where the liver of Europe is, or something, but it's a very substantial part of Europe. My country is down at the, it's in yellow, it's depicted in yellow, and it's down, it's north of Greece, in front of Italy, and it borders North Macedonia, Kosovo, and Montenegro. So the countries in yellow are the countries that are not yet part of the European Union, and the countries in blue are the countries that are part of the European Union. But because these countries that are not part of the European Union are so unknown, I really need a map so that we can visualize, because culture is also about visuals, and it's about, you know, what we remember. And words are beautiful, but sometimes we lose. We are caught with other gadgets that are in our hands, like telephones or a conversation with your neighbor. So the words are not enough. So for me, as well a visual person, I need a map. So thank you, Mr. Donfried, for providing me that. So I come from a country that has a rogue history, a very difficult history, even though it's at the liver of Europe, and has been kind of separated from the continent for a long time because of historical happenings and historical circumstances. But I think at this moment of time, my country is experiencing the best moment ever. And what is the best moment ever? It's the moment where your culture can flourish, your economy is about to flourish or flourishes, and when also politics flourishes and unites. My country is a country that is part of what the European calls enlargement countries, candidate countries to become a member of the EU. And to become a member of the EU, it's not an easy way. You have to fulfill many criteria, and you have to go through a long way. You have to be a candidate member, you have to negotiate, and I'm explaining this all to you because it's a very technical, difficult language that only countries that are negotiating with the EU to become member know. So for you it might be very boring. But this is the language of enlargement, and it's called the enlargement of the EU. Now, I don't find it an enlargement because if you see the map, it's actually an inclusion, not really an enlargement. Enlargement is when you make your continent big, but we're already a continent. So I think enlargement should be the case with Ukraine or with Moldova, what Europe is trying to enlarge. But in the case of what they call, in a very arbitrary term, they call us Western Balkans, and don't ask me why. Please don't. I think we are Southeast Europe. In our case, it's a bit of an inclusion and not enlargement. But you can think, you just look at the map and think about it yourself. I'm not trying to put things on you. So, when discussing enlargement, we discuss negotiation, we have chapters, we have benchmarks, we have institutional reforms, and technical criteria. These are all indispensable elements to become a member country, but history teaches us that Europe has never been built only through institutions. And Europe is ultimately a political, economical, and a cultural community for actually, when politics unites, when economy unites, it's culture that plays the most important role because it unites societies. As we all experience from a European perspective, Europe is today in a lot of strategic stress. And faced with geopolitical competition, security challenges into its borders, economic uncertainty, and shifting a balance of global power, the European Union is being tested as never before. Yet, European Union and Europe has found the strength to emerge from a moment of challenge. And it's not retreat, it's also deeper unity within its members, but what it is also, Europe is also the bed or the platform of so much richness, of so many cultures that come together. And European Union has this principle, it's united in diversity. So many languages are spoken in the European Union, so many different cultures, and still they have to think alike, they have to be united. It's a challenge that actually, imagine if you were 27 people in one classroom to do something, you know, to go and, I don't know, have a barbecue outside. That would have been a difficult exercise to agree on everything that you need for this barbecue without having somehow an argument or a counter argument or having a different thought. So the diversity, though, is used to have as a tool to unify, and the European Union members and their cultural offer tries to do that. On the other hand, another thing that is very important, or what is seen now as an important mean is of becoming stronger as a continent, is enlargement, is taking these countries there in yellow in the family when these countries do their homework, of course. And the homework is numerous, and I'm not going to bore you with that. But for me, as an ambassador, of course the technical talks are very important, but what is also important is economic diplomacy, because we can never become part of a family that has a different economic development. So in the economical term, we are not united, and the economy of our countries is 4 or 5 times less than the economy of the countries in blue. How do we do that as diplomats? Well, that is a very challenging task, especially if you are in a country like Germany, where there is so much decentralization, and we as countries are small countries. Our population is 2.5 million. We are a small market, actually. We're just half of Berlin. And then we have to reach out to a country with a population of 88 million, 87 million inhabitants, and which is spread in the heart of the European continent. Yesterday I was in Kiel. Kiel is in north of Germany. We decided we would drive to cut it, you know, to be effective, to travel within the day, and then we were stuck in traffic because of an accident for 2 hours. So our travel to Kiel was an adventure. And then I thought, wow, how can we reach out as a small country in this huge place called Germany with so many different decentralized places and economic centers. And how can we do that? So we have decided as an embassy to reach out to the states of Germany and to reach out for only one thing, because we cannot afford and we cannot absorb to have a bigger coverage of all the economic sectors, because the thing is, Germany can offer, Germany has so many things to offer, but countries also need to absorb the offer. And if you don't absorb, if you're not replying, or if you're not a country that goes with the same pace, then you better do not embark upon an economical project, because in a way that economic project will not be a success and you should not do it. So lesson number one, whenever you embark upon economic diplomacy, is know yourself, know your capacities, know what the capital wants, and also define your needs, because the needs are what can bring the economic diplomacy together. A very important development has happened the last week when it comes to the enlargement, or the inclusion, as I want to call it, of the Western Balkans or Southeast Europe into the EU family. There has been a letter that Chancellor Merz, together with Emmanuel Macron, wrote about the integration of these countries into the EU. And it's just a suggestion of how to accelerate a process that has been very long and very tiresome and very actually stuck in time. We became candidate country, or we submitted our candidacy to become member of the EU in 2004, and then renewed it in 2009. We've been candidate country since 2014. We started to negotiate in 2022. And only now, this year, we opened all the chapters of negotiation, and we have a very ambitious plan to finish by 2028. So it's a really long process that takes a long time, and people might lose their patience. People might look for another life. The world is big, opportunities are big. We face brain drain. We face, even though we are a very enthusiastic country as Albania, but the region faces destabilization. The vacuum is used by external forces who can really play with us, in the sense that create the perception that we are not stable, that we are not reliable, and that it's not a good idea to become member of the EU. And that is always at stake. Whenever you come from our region, what is at stake is that the way that narratives can be shaped, that are transmitted in everyday, even German TV, are so treacherous, because they can really present a reality that is not there, unless you have been to the country, you know the country, and you have a sensitivity for the country, which I cannot claim, because it's too much to claim coming from a small country. So how do you get out of that loop where somebody else is telling your story, somebody else is telling your narrative? And that is where culture comes to play. And that is where culture can really talk and can unite and can give a message that actually nobody else can give but the country that provides this culture. And that's why I always say I'm the cultural attaché of Albania in the embassy of Albania in Berlin, because I find culture is the narrative. Culture is how you present your country. Culture is who you are. And then economy and then politics, of course, but I think culture is the basis of it. So I'll just give you an example, and I'm not going to read my speech now. I'm just going to give an example of how difficult it was for me when I was in the Netherlands, because I heard there was somebody from the Netherlands here. I stayed in the Netherlands for a long time because of perceptions and because of narratives and because of I was trying to convince the Netherlands that yes, we can be a very, very good member of the EU if you know us. Because what was the challenge? The unknown. If a culture is unknown, a culture is not loved. And then in Dutch they have a very nice expression, onbekend is onbemind. And then when people don't know you, then how can you explain? I was in the Netherlands actually when Ukraine was in a referendum. In the Netherlands they held a referendum about the candidate status of Ukraine to the EU in 2016. So that is where you see the reality, like, and the narratives and the perceptions, and it was very strange how you can also manipulate the public opinion. Not strange, but real. But what I really was very, very amazed by the Ukrainian, and then the war continued later, and the resilience and their will to defend their country showed in a bigger platforms. But I was so amazed by the cultural offer of the campaign that the Ukrainians put forth in the Netherlands. Because they had concerts, they had exhibitions, they had catalogs, they had artists. It was so vivid, it was so speaking, and I was just an observer because I thought, oh, my country will be next. You know, as diplomats, you feel that. And even though they had such a beautiful, 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 beautiful campaign, positive campaign, they lost that referendum in 2016, unfortunately. And that was again another lesson for me as an ambassador, like how can I shape the narrative of my country? Not to say that we are perfect, not to say that we are extraordinary, but just to say that we are actually a country that is worth visiting, that has to offer, and it is okay at the end. But just to convey that message, it takes a lot of effort and years. And I think it takes a decade from the communication perspective, it takes 10 years to shape that narrative. And that is always at stake, because something bad might blow it away. So I realized with a campaign of Ukraine that you can really try hard, but it doesn't work like that. So, and then as an ambassador, when you want to present your country, you have to really know the reality of your host country. And I will talk about Germany a bit later, but what I found out in the Netherlands is that they did have a very popular TV program that was shot and was realized or accomplished in a special country. And it was a reality show, but a clever reality show, where very well-known Dutch actors would go, or Dutch VIPs would go and would shoot a series of gaming or playing with each other until they, and one of them is the traitor, or is the one who sabotages or who kills the group. And that was a very, very popular program that is very much watched, and where the reach, cultural reach, is then, but that is pop culture, of course. It's not about I don't know, performances, but the perception and the reach is very huge. So I really had to put all my horses there and really, together with my team from the capital, try to convince that company who made this program to come over to Albania and just check the country out, because it might be a good country to shoot their program. But we are small, as you see there, we're very small, and of course the makers of this program said, no, you're too small, we want to share with different countries, and then we want to, in these 10 episodes that we will show, we want to have 3 or 4 countries, which is perfect. I mean, it's like, of course you can do that. 3 episodes on Albania, cultural offer in Albania can be very good, but please go and check Albania first. Maybe you find there more offers. Maybe it will surprise you. And that is, and I remember, like now, I said, and you will also enjoy the food in Albania, because actually that is also a part of cultural diplomacy, is culinary diplomacy, and that is a very important part of our everyday life. We have to eat at least once a day. So everybody has to eat, and we are keen on food. And I remember that when I talked about food to the makers of this program, they were looking at me in a very strange way. But then they went to Albania. They visited my country, and when they came back, they said, the first thing that they said when they opened the door and they came to my office, they said, "Oh my God, the food." And that was mission accomplished. A funny thing is that after these makers of this TV program went to my country, they decided they will not make a program for together with 3 other countries, but they will have all their 10 episodes realized in Albania. So the biggest accomplishment in my life, I don't think it will ever happen again, was that in January 22, on the 1st of January 22, so it's a day that people stay at home because it's after New Year's Eve. 1st of January 2022, in the Dutch TV, national TV, prime time, 9 o'clock, there was a program of Wie is de Mol Albania. And everybody was so surprised because they had a totally different perception of what Albania was. And in 2002, we did the statistics a year later, that program, which had 10 episodes every Saturday at primetime national TV, was the most watched program in the Netherlands with 4.7 million viewers. And 4.7 million viewers is a very, very good number in a country of 18 million, where the viewers actually are families. So it's one TV signal, but it's a family that is watching that program. So this is just an example that, and I have to tell you that the number of tourists and the relaxation of the people when it comes to my country who was unknown was much more effective than that campaign of Ukraine that never made it. What also happened from a political point of view, only because of that cultural dimension, is that also the politics relaxed and the Netherlands started to and is still supporting our EU integration of Albania. Now, you will say, how about Germany? I don't know how long you have been in Germany. How do you know Germany? How long are you staying in Germany? But Germany is a different country. So when it comes to cultural diplomacy, it really depends on the country. Germany is huge, and it's very decentralized, and it has so many media, and has different channels. So I'm now in my 3rd year. I will not stay here for a long time, but to reach out the German public, and as a small country, and to make this cultural diplomacy vivid, it's still for me a mystery. And we try to do economic diplomacy, because only through economic diplomacy you might then develop some relations closely that bring you to cultural activities. To reach out the TV world is, of course, quite challenging because of the fragmentation and because of so many different mediums. Another maybe platform that you guys might explore, and you know very well, is social media. But the social media we see now that is also very manipulative. And I had, and I don't know how you and how we as diplomats can give you the right information through the social media, because the social media, when it comes to manipulation of information, is getting very, very, very dangerous, with so many algorithms and with so many things that just pop in your screen. I had a friend who actually told me something very amazing. She said, I built my algorithms to watch from the social media whatever she liked, which was culture and, culture. But all of a sudden, her interest went into some, like a protest or something that was very manipulated from the social media. And she said, and now the algorithms bring her only that news, and she cannot go back to that previous profile she had where she could get information about culture. And then she said, well, and I like that, she said, slowly but surely I will rebuild that profile of the information that I want. I don't use social media myself, but I'm so amazed how manipulative everything has become, and the reach has become so manipulative. And I don't know, but it's up to you guys to tell us how to defend our cultures, how to defend our cultural diplomacy from the threat of algorithms and manipulations. We do use social media as embassy, and we have really focused on social media, because that is also cultural diplomacy. But it's like a needle in a stray, in a mountain of strays. So I hope that you can come up with some new ideas for the next generation, for the generations then, and to make them also to protect them from fake or manipulative cultural messages or whatever messages, and can also help the diplomats who are a bit in a very difficult position, because what we say can be really countered by many videos that have a lot of effect on people when it comes to the social media. So I will leave it up to you now, up to that now, and I'm glad to take any questions that you have, and I'm also glad to hear out what do you think about the age we're living in and cultural diplomacy through social media. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and as long as it's okay with you, I know you have time pressure, we can take a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yes, sure.
Please, comments, questions, and please introduce yourself as well.
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Honorable Gwamimo Odumosu. I'm from Nigeria, and we have a culture in Nigeria whereby anywhere we are, anywhere in the world, we make our presence felt immediately. And when you walk in, you make your presence felt immediately. And you keep saying you're a smaller country, but your action is saying different things. Your confidence, your presence has actually helped your country. You know, Nigeria is about 250 million population with enormous resources. Maybe that's why we have so much confidence. So much, yes. It's our culture, and as well as diplomacy. I want to ask you, you said you don't have, well, in your embassy, they will ask, who is the cultural attaché? You say, hey, you. So that is cultural diplomacy, you combine the two. And I want to say one thing, keep it up, because you're representing your country very well. And in terms of making your presence felt, you don't act like a smaller country. We are a bigger country. We have enormous resources. I am tired today. If I'm tired, I'm quiet. Today I'm quiet, and people don't really have opportunity to see our culture in terms of, but I put on this dress, it's our culture. Yes. So I want to congratulate you because you represent your country very well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, a few other hands. And your point is very well received. I'm also from a big country, the USA. They have a huge embassy next to the Brandenburg Gate. Does it really help them? I don't think so. Because of the security and the bulletproof glass and this and that, they can't really do anything with it. So as you're saying, sometimes take your weakness, use it as a strength. Take what you think is a disadvantage, use it as an advantage. And very often, I think smaller countries are in a much better position sometimes to articulate and and better opportunities. So
that's another one has a thing or two to say about that as well.
All right, we can continue the discussion, but I don't want to dominate, so I see at least two more hands here, so let's continue, and please introduce yourself as always.
Yes. Your Excellency, my name is TB, I'm from Canada. So regarding your question about how can we suggest maybe ideas for youth to hear more about on social media, so how to tackle the social media issue. Maybe one of the ways, I know in Canada, for instance, our different parties have also commissions for youth. They become ambassadors to the values of our different parties. As a whole, they support the country, Canada and everything. So it could be interesting. I don't know if in your country you have commissions where youth are really involved in politics, and with that, because social media is an issue, it could be a project for them to really exchange with see their government leaders and everything, and from there see how social media can be, how for your country it can be presented, and the youth will give you those ideas, and they become the ambassadors of their generation, and even they can voice on behalf, or not even on behalf, but what about the country. So the mandate would be that your youth would talk on social media and promote your country
Yes.
to others, and that would be a way also, an indirect way for the government.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. There are many organizations that are trying to bring the culture. So once you come to our country and visit, you will be swimming in culture, traditional culture, and then we wear really also very beautiful attires, and you experience the culture in some very, very nice, but also good businesses. Where you know the Albanian nights, for example, there is you go in a place where they dress you with the Albanian clothes, and then they bring you to different rooms with different experiences, and you experience that culture, but you also experience nature and everything. But indeed, the participation of youth is very important, but it's very difficult to get. It's difficult with so many offers, social media offers that you have nowadays. It's amazing how the young generation also positions itself when it comes to the screen. It's amazing, yes. So, thank you for that.
Excellent. There was another hand here. Yes.
Good afternoon, Ambassador, and thank you so much for your wonderful speech. I would like to add on to what you said earlier. It really is in the hands of the youth, but particularly youth communities outside of your country, Albania. For example, I know many Albanians here in Berlin. They have small collective groups, small communities, and they're all very talented people. They're cultural practitioners, they're in the film institutes, they're studying, they're still building their knowledge. And when it comes to youth, we're very tactical with social media. We can see through the quote-unquote BS, if you would like to say that, we're able to see through it and really be more tactical with what we like to share, what we like to do, because regardless, social media is only going to continue to feed us these false narratives. And so this is more of a collective issue for each and every country we're talking about now, because as the world becomes more, as we face more cultural hegemony, all the countries we live in start to look alike. Every feed starts to look the same. And so we have to target small communities to go to small events, small places. For example, here in Berlin, we have a huge Arab community. We have poetry nights, we have art nights, exhibits for artists, local artists. So this is how it gets the ball rolling, the dice rolling, and it's a kind of a domino effect. And to have that collaboration with the youth and these small communities with the diplomatic efforts, I think that can go really long way. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. It's very precious indeed. That is also one very, very important part of the cultural diplomacy. I don't know if we can call it diaspora or the youth that lives here. They do have a lot of initiative. Berlin is a cradle of all these initiatives, and actually when you see it in the social media you think, wow, this is a huge event, and then you go and it's a small place, but this is very much Berlin. Have you ever been ambassador invited into this mega title thing, and then you go and it's just a small apartment somewhere with, 20 people. But this is how you realize how Berlin is functioning. Yes, there are many we have a wonderful community. We as embassy, we are always in contact with them. We try to support them. And the advice I have for that community is not only to use the social media, but to also get registered in whatever structures Germany offers, for a business association or for a cultural association. And I always say I want to see as many names in the register of Berlin or anywhere. The challenge, I go back to the small countries, is that Berlin is only one land of Germany, you know, and there are so many other places that have a lot of diaspora. But indeed, the diaspora are the best ambassadors. The people who live here, and I always say to our people, I say, I'm here for 4 years. You're going to be here for a long time. So you are the one who represents the culture, the economy, and everything of the country, and they are very, very important. I just feel that we cannot be at 10 places at the same time sometimes, and this is the challenge with Germany. I think this is my experience. I have this fear of missing out my work all the time, not the fear of missing out an event, because there are so many places, there are so many things, and this is a very challenging country to be a representative because of the size and the reach and the diversity. So I thank you very much for your comments and your advice, and I wish you all the best, and whenever you have questions about Albania, Mr. Donfried will direct you to us, and we can always stay in touch and help you with whatever you need. Also with the food.